Hello, this is Ronald Bird with another edition of Style Speaks. I'm here at Union Station in Washington, D.C. with a fine gentleman that I want to introduce to you all who's agreed to talk to us today on Style Speaks. He's a designer and speaker, and his name is Mr. Jeffery Woodruff. Jeffrey, thanks for talking to me today.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure to be here.
Good to have you here. Definitely a pleasure and an honor. Tell me, Jeffrey, where are you from?
I am from Sea Pleasant, Maryland.
Okay.
Sea Pleasant, Maryland.
We've had all Washingtonians today, so we actually get somebody kind of like over the border or whatever, just over the border. See, how long have you been in this area?
I've been in this area all of my life.
Okay.
I actually moved to D.C. in 1998.
1998.
Maybe like 2 or 3 years.
Okay. Well, what made you, give me a little bit of history as to how did you get into the field that you're working in, the design? I know you do branding and all different types of things. I think you encompass a plethora of things to do, so I don't want to kind of speak ill as to kind of define what you do. Why don't you tell us kind of what you do?
Okay, well, I got into the art field, the art and the design field. I grew up an artist, drawing pictures in elementary school, drawing books of birds and things of that nature. In the 12th grade, I wasn't quite sure exactly what I wanted to do. I thought that I wanted to be an architect, but I found out that there was a great deal of math involved, so I shied away from that. And I attended PG College and took up graphic design then. I still wasn't 100% sure because graphic design for me was fairly new. I just knew that I could draw a great deal. Then one thing led to another, transferred to Howard Union University, switched up my curriculum again, got into graphic design and multimedia, and from that point on still wasn't very passionate about it, and worked some odd jobs after college, then got into my groove, found an opportunity at Howard University doing graphic design. Still not very passionate, still trying to find my way in this world. Then came across an opportunity at a graphic design and photography firm called The Image House, headed by Saul Simonton. He's no longer here. He passed away. But during that period, I found my groove. I was really doing design work that I could get excited about, because at Howard everything was very corporate. But with this particular design firm, it's like I had free reign. I had free creative reign.
Okay.
And found my groove, was making a nice amount of bread on the side along with my full-time job, and spent 10 years at Howard. Eventually was getting a little bit burnt out, but then coming across the belief of starting my own business.
Okay.
That was wandering in my mind for 10 years. I actually created the logo 10 years ago while I was still at Howard, just freelancing, but not really in the mindset that I'm about to do this.
Okay. Let me interrupt you before you get into that. When you say design, I guess I want people to know, because there's many different areas of design, fashion design, whatever, interior design. When you say design, what specifically do you mean? What type of design were you working on?
We do graphic design, web design,
okay.
Interior design as well. And I also have an umbrella company called Ascended Bee, and our tagline is actually Design Lives as well. So design, we're taking the design thing into a whole nother level, because me, with a lot of the things that I've come across in this world, that I look at this whole entire world and construct as one great big design. I've just been in the process of figuring it all out.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this, Mr. Jeffrey. Well, I'm going to take you back. When did you find that you had this creative niche? At what point, or what kind of some of your inspirations or influences that you had early on to kind of make you want, what got you into that whole creative part of yourself? And when did you recognize that?
At a very early age, I've just always been an observer. I observe everything. I observe images. pay very close attention to sounds, and I've always been fascinated by images and sounds. That's what led me to drawing images, thus leading to me doing design work. So fashion, I mean, I've always loved fashion. I mean, I've just always had a huge appeal for how things look.
Okay. Yeah. Very visual, very visual.
Extremely.
That's a great answer. Well, how do you, now that you speak on fashion, this is where I'm ultimately trying to go. How do you, you seem to be a very, well, I know you to be a very stylish, fashionable guy.
Thank you.
I'm not sure how you, I mean, I think everybody's perception is different, but if you ask them how they see themselves, it can be totally different from how somebody else. So I'm always curious to find out how you view yourself. Have you always considered yourself to be a very fashion conscious person? And if so, or if not, explain. And then also, how do you feel that that has helped you in the line of work in dealing with people who want to have you create for them? Has your look and your presentation and your sense of style come into play?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, growing up.
But that was a good question.
Growing up as a youngster, I've always given style and fashion and clothes a great deal of attention as well. I found myself dressing up a lot when I was in elementary school.
Okay. You're one of those who like to put on the bow tie and the, and the necktie going to school,
yes.
right?
And my favorite ensemble in elementary school was a pair of black slacks, some black dress shoes, a white wingtip collar shirt, and a burgundy bow tie. And you couldn't tell me nothing on that day at all.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. So I dressed up a lot while everybody else was wearing sneakers and things of that nature. And I always dress myself.
Were those the geeks? I'm not sure. Can we safely assume that? But anyway.
Well, in elementary school, I definitely was not a geek. Well, all throughout my...
No disrespect.
No. All throughout elementary school, middle school, high school, and college, I was not a geek. I just recently turned into a geek, like 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
When I had to figure everything out. Okay. So as far as fashion and how it has influenced my world, I've just always liked to feel good. And when I put on something that looks good, it makes me feel good. And it helps the whole environment that I'm around. Yeah, it builds that confidence.
And I think, especially in your line of work, people look at you to be, a creative person,
appealing,
definitely pleasing to the eye. So that I deem that very, very important. Well, how do you deem fashion and style in the district? You've been here a long time. You're from this area, and when you walk down the street and you kind of see people doing what they do. Do you find that DC is fashion forward, fashion conscious place to be? And a lot of people have told me it's very eclectic. You have, different people from all over the country kind of migrate to DC, so everybody kind of has their own individual style. But is it a style that you find pleasing to see, to the eye?
Yeah. I think that everybody in DC has their own particular style. I give major attention to the style that I can most identify with. Also, I was once told something that I have a metrosexual look, and I didn't know what that meant.
Right.
And I was like, what does that mean exactly? Then they just said, well, it's just a style. So always kind of...
You're conscious. You're conscious, whether it be overly conscious of how you look, basically, for a man as opposed to a woman. More men are very detailed and want to make sure everything's right, the shoes are clean, everything. So that's pretty much kind of like how it's usually defined.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's me.
That's definitely you. Yeah.
And I take pride in it.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate other people that take pride in their appearance as well. As well as taking pride in the internal factors of their being as well. So as far as it's many different styles here in DC. I mean, you do got the cats that wear the t-shirts. You got the cats that wear a t-shirt and a scarf.
Right.
I love seeing beautiful women dressed to a T with sundresses and things of that nature. I mean, I just love people that love or just take heavy pride in their appearance.
Well, that's good. That's good to know, because I think a lot of people, basically kind of want to come out and present their best face and have their best look forward. But a lot, to some people, it's not that big of a deal. And I guess based on what you do and how you present yourself in the line of work, it's very, very important. But as a whole, again, being here in DC and incorporating business and meeting people, and being professional and all that, how do you rate DC? I guess we just talked about the looks and the styles and the individuality in DC, but how do you rate it as maybe one of the fashion capitals? Do you even put DC, he laughs before I get it out because he knows where I'm going, as being one of the more fashionable cities to be in, as opposed to, of course, in New York and a Chicago? What do you kind of rate DC as?
I would rate DC
as a look on
probably is probably number 3 or 4. It definitely does.
That's pretty high up. Yeah.
Well, I definitely would put New York,
being New York, and of course Europe and a lot
LA,
of those places. LA, okay.
LA and Miami. But my vision for DC is that DC is about to turn into something really, really big. They're actually turning it into a metropolis, sort of like a New York feel. And the fashion industry here is about to explode. And I'm actually working on a few projects with my company, the Design Suite, to incorporate fashion within the Design Suite to see if we can build some global brands.
Call me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, that's wonderful. I mean, I really think that's key and that's important. And I appreciate your honest response to that. Everybody has their own insight, and I just find it very interesting, and I'm very curious to see just kind of where people kind of range this city. And because I see a lot of being here in Union Station, people are kind of coming in town and leaving. It's a very transity spot to be in, so it's hard to kind of gauge in a place like this, but you still have your people who live here and who's walking about on their lunch break today, and who's got like the whole attitude, the whole look together. Yeah. So that's really pleasing to see, and that's what I like to see. But what do you want to do to kind of bring it home? What do you think you can do with your company, or how can you? Because a lot of my influence, a lot of what I want to do, obviously, is to bring as much attention to style and fashion to DC as possible. Not to create anything, but just bring the conversation forward. I think it's a very conservative town in a lot of respects, but I think we've gotten away from the whole conservative look, and people are expressing themselves a little easier now, a little bit more freely. So I do think the fashion consciousness is greater. So I like to see that. So, but what can be your contribution with the Design Suite and whatever you're adding to it because you're looking the part. Maybe you want to pan out and see this brother's little nice ensemble here. But what can you do to bring more attention to it, and how would you like to see DC 5-10 years down the road?
Well, my contribution, I actually was contemplating maybe 2 years ago when I was just defining my business, the Design Suite, to see exactly just what is the Design Suite, and what can it be. So I'm also a speaker as well, and I always encourage people to always follow their passion. So of course I have to apply this principle to myself. So I'm in the mindset now of just taking all limits and all boundaries from this entire existence and say, well, I want to create a business where I am involved with every single last one of my passion. And fashion has always been one of my passions.
Wonderful.
So I included it within the structure, and I've actually been collaborating and talking to a few people that's in the fashion industry to see just how we can collaborate, because for me it doesn't make too much sense for us to be consumers for the rest of our days, spending all of our hard-earned money on other people's products when we definitely have the ability to be creating our own. We just have to just create that thought in our mind and just pay attention to the people that come into area. So that's going to be my contribution. I'm actually in the process of building some global brands, sort of like a Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, because it doesn't make, again, any sense for them to just have a monopoly over the whole sports apparel and sneaker industry, because to me, we're the most fashionable people on the earth and has been the most fashionable people of the earth since the beginning of time. So I think that it's really our time to really show and prove just what we really can do, and fashion would definitely be a very intricate aspect of it.
I couldn't have said it better myself. That's a wonderful thing. Well, Jeffrey, well, where can we find you, Mr. Woodruff? How can we look for the Design Suite? What's going on with you now? What do you want the people to know before we close?
Well, but the Design Suite website is now under construction because of everything that I just kind of said, that we had to go back into the lab and restructure everything. We anticipate the site being up within the next month, getting ready for spring to really just throw a big launch out. You can always, yes, you can also find me on Facebook under Jeffery L. Woodruff. I also have a Design Suite page on Facebook as well, and that's TheDesignsUite.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Woodruff. It's always a pleasure seeing you. Thanks for coming out and talking to me on this beautiful afternoon. I appreciate it. It's been a beautiful day.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. This is it for, I'm getting ready to say, this is it from the Design Suite. I'm
That's right.
promoting all your business
you
from
already
Style
know.
Speaks, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.